Matthew 27:52-54. The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised, and coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. When the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe and said, "Truly, this was the Son of God." The Romans at the time were great record keepers. They kept track of wills, military service, and other main mundane events. If they kept such good track of history and records, how could they have possibly not written down a miraculous event where many people were literally crawling out of their graves and appearing to people in the city? Not just any people, they even appeared to the centurion. Pastor Ed's defense is essentially this. Rome didn't want to write it down because they didn't want to give credibility to Christianity, and the centurion could have been dismissed as a wacko. However, the centurion and the people who were with him all saw this happen. He would have been backed up by the people that were with him.
Coming from your perspective, let's say that this was a variant and didn't actually belong in the text. It's someone just added it in. I don't think that'd be compelling enough to say that all of it's false. I mean, I wouldn't hold that position, but I'm just trying to think from your perspective.
Oh.
That a centurion became a Christian? I don't know.
That the centurion, like, because even mundane events were recorded by the Romans. So you would think there would be some, like, the centurion would have had to tell somebody.
Sure.
So.
But I mean, he could have been dismissed as a wacko.
And let's look at how many, and there's a lot of writers that were keeping track of history at this time. So it could have been anybody, any of these people could have written down, well, not all of them, like this guy was probably dead or not even born yet, but a lot of these people could have easily written this down about, like, this unbelievable event that happened that many people saw. And another thing that was commented on is Pastor Ed had talked about how, you know, these people might have been strangers and people wouldn't have recognized them, but the centurion himself and the people that were with him were in awe. So they did recognize, whether or not they recognized the people themselves, they at least recognized that something miraculous was happening, that dead people were rising from their graves. And again, multiple people saw this, so this had to have been talked about. Yet there's no evidence outside of the Bible of this happening. The only evidence that we do have outside of the Bible for this many people raising from the dead is Ignatius, who himself acknowledges that he's using the scripture as a source. So that is hardly helpful, unfortunately. So I'd actually consider this evidence against the Bible's truth. Something like this, that the centurion and his people all acknowledged to have seen, according to Scripture, would have been acknowledged somewhere in history. The fact that it isn't acknowledged suggests that the event didn't happen. Think of this like the cookie analogy. You have a supernatural claim that a missing cookie actually went above your house and made a loud explosion. You have an active neighborhood watch, and there's cookie crumbs in your daughter's room. Nobody in your neighborhood watch mentioned any explosions. This suggests that the exploding cookie claim is false, and in reality, your daughter ate the cookie. In the same way, the active record keeping of the Romans and the lack of reporting suggests that this event didn't happen. Josephus himself even claims that Jesus did many surprising feats, so even if this was the work of demons, it should have been acknowledged somehow, somewhere in history.